perfect way to start any vacation is with a good safety review. After we learned how to jump out of a plane and put on a life jacket and inflate it, it was time to kick back and enjoy our 15-hour flight to Frankfurt, Germany. Somehow, Kathy was able to sleep on the plane. At one point, she was even able to roll over on her stomach. Unfortunately for me, even in business, I was about a foot too tall. We were looking forward to getting off the plane in a beautiful international airport. But we got off the plane, packed into a bus, and then packed into passport clearance with hundreds of our new friends. The only thing left now was a 1-hour hopper. We'd be in Prague. Ask me sometime to tell you the story about that flight, including blazing heat and a barf bag. We finally made it to Prague, Czech Republic. First stop, the condo that Kathy found us. Somehow, Kathy found a flat on the 3rd floor, literally 3 houses away from the Old Town Square. Best of all, it even had an elevator, so no schlepping the bags upstairs. Originally coming from California, I had to continually pinch myself to remind me that we're not in Disneyland. This is the real deal. Before we knew it, our first day had come to an end. It was time to head back to the apartment, look out our bedroom window at this view, and get a good night's rest. Just down the street from our apartment, there was a lovely little cafe, and of course a more traditional option, but we chose to eat with the locals. On our first full day in Prague, Kathy found Living Prague Tours, run by a young man named Jason. He was born in England, but had lived in Prague for the last 26 years. Today we'll be touring the Prague Jewish Quarter. It's a small district, but it is packed with some impressive history. Within just a few blocks, the Jewish Quarter has 6 synagogues, 1 Jewish ceremonial hall, and my favorite, the old Jewish cemetery. As time went by, and the Jews in the Jewish Quarter passed away from natural causes, they ran out of burial space. But the city wouldn't allow them to expand, so they came up with a great idea. They removed all the headstones, brought in 6 feet of dirt, replanted the old headstones, and started from scratch. The first high-rise graveyard I've ever seen. Despite the cute story about the graveyard, trouble for the Jews in Prague started back in the 13th century, when Jews were ordered to abandon their homes in Prague and gather together in a small community between the Old Town Square and the Vltava River. During World War II, this would become known as the ghetto. Then came the 20th century with World War II. Unfortunately, or fortunately, Hitler became impressed with the Jewish Quarter architectural features, so he decided to spare it and collect Jewish artifacts from all through occupied Europe with the intention of creating a museum known as the Museum of an Extinct Race, filled with stolen artifacts. Fortunately, with the help of the United States Army monument men, the treasures never made it to Prague and were returned to their rightful owners as best they could. There's one last must-see before you leave the Jewish Quarter, and that is the morgue/bathroom. This is the entrance to what used to be the morgue for the Jewish cemetery, and now it's been turned into a public bathroom. For €1, you can go to the bathroom in the old morgue. On the next part of our adventure in Prague, we hooked up again with Jason. This time we'll be touring the city with a focus on the effects of World War II on Prague. So bright and early in the morning, we were off to the train station to meet Jason. Fortunate for Kathy, we got there a little ahead of schedule, so it gave her time to pick up her favorite beverage. Hitler sent an envoy early on in World War II to the Czech Republic. He told them, "Surrender now and we won't touch your country, or we will bomb you back into the Stone Age and then we'll occupy your country." Against the wishes of most of the people of the Czech Republic, the Prime Minister chose to surrender. Hitler did keep his word. Prague was only bombed 3 times and was by the Allies, mistakenly thinking they were over Dresden, Germany. Despite Hitler's promise not to bomb Prague, they didn't escape World War II. This is a picture taken of a tank on this very corner. With war on the horizon, and knowing how Germany treated the Jews, there became a concerted effort to get all of the Jewish children out of Prague as quickly as possible. In the train station at Prague, there's a monument to the Jewish children. They have a door from one of the trains they used to evacuate the children. And on the glass, there's 2 etchings. On the outside, the parents reaching to say goodbye, and on the inside, the children reaching for their parents, with the sad reality they'll probably never see each other again. Another remarkable monument at the train station is a bronze of Nicholas Winton with 2 small children and a suitcase. Mr. Winton, a British citizen, came to Prague to organize the evacuation of Prague's Jewish children. With the help of a number of volunteers, he was able to rescue 699 children. The bronze, unfortunately, represents the children watching the last train pull out without them. I found this clip on YouTube that I just had to add to the video.
If Nicky Winton hadn't organised those trains, I would have probably died. Here I am with 668 other children that represent the lives that he had saved.
As we walk by what was Gestapo headquarters during World War II, Jason wanted to show us a less noticeable monument to the lives lost to the Nazi regime. In front of several of the buildings, there's these small 2-inch by 2-inch bronze monuments. They're called Stalgerstein, or in English, stumbling stones. Each one of these monuments represents an individual that was forcefully taken by the SS from that building. On each plaque is the victim's name, their date of birth, date of deportation, and date of death and location if known. When we finally arrived back at our condo that night, I noticed that there were 2 stumbling stones at our door. All night long I just kept thinking what it must have been like to hear the door kicked open and hear soldiers running up the stairs, knowing that they were there to take you away.